Okay, today I'm going to be setting up my wash for the whiskey. I had to get a few things in the mail before I could actually come and do this part of the video. So, anyways, I'm going to get right to it. One of the first things you want to do is there are a few things that you have to sterilize. Again, like I said in previous videos, alcohol does have an enemy, and it is a naturally occurring bacteria in the atmosphere. So, if you have alcohol like in a wine base, which is what a wash is, it has a tendency, if it's let set too long, to turn into vinegar. And we don't want that. I don't want to distill vinegar. I want to distill alcohol. So anyways, you'll need to get a food base sanitizer. This is something you can actually rinse your stuff out and let it dry, and it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt the people you serve. It's a food-based sanitizer, and it is concentrated, so a little bit goes a long way. There's different ones that have different setups on them, so I'm not going to bore you with all that. You'll have to get one yourself and read the instructions, and it'll work just fine. Anyways, not super expensive. I don't think I paid a whole lot for it. And got it shipped to me right in the mail. Anyways, onward. After you get your sanitizer mixture made up, it's going to look similar to this. Now I'm going to use that to let the spoons and stuff sit in there for a couple of minutes. I'm going to use it to sanitize this and my 6-gallon vat. I'll show you that in a second. I sanitize the plate that I set the spoon on. After you get through doing that, you want to put it on something. You can't towel dry it. If you towel dry it, you're going to put bacteria back on it. So keep that in mind. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and start to sanitize that. I got it. I can take care of it now. Try to get it clean inside and out. It's a process. I got some special brushes for it. I'll need these afterwards too, because I've got to clean all the leftover yeast and so forth out of the bottom of this whenever you get ready to put it away. I would assume you'd want to use it again, so you're not going to want to have it on this stuff. See, it's a L shape. Covers the sides and the bottom and around the top. Anyways, give it a good once over. And just get the gist of it. Back in a minute. Okay. The best way to do this is shoot out around and things like a bust. And then same thing. And set it in a drying rack. Won't fall over, get busted. Okay, next is the potatoes. Okay, just to show how clean it came out, I'm going to go ahead and set that on the bench in there. I'll show a little more on that in just a second. this up a little bit. I'm cleaning mud out of my vat, so make it so that's not a thing. These are just plain old everyday russet potatoes. Okay, I'm going to cut them up to put them inside this pot over here. Get out of the way. So it won't take me long to get that done. I mean, I don't think it's pretty self-explanatory. Just cut it in chunks. Not too thin, thick if you want it to sweat. If it becomes too thick, it takes a long time for it to sweat out. You're trying to get the starch out of the potato. So there's not a whole lot to it. You're not going to be boiling it, you just heating it up enough for the potato to release the starch and sugar that's within it. Anyways, I'll be back when it's done. There's no sense in making a video on how to cut potatoes. You can already start to see the cloudiness in the water from the starch and the sugars and the potato just being cut. By going ahead and cooking them just a little bit. Again, you don't want to boil it. It will go ahead and sweat a lot more of that off in there. And that's what we're going to put in the wash. You don't have to watch it, but like I said, you have to keep an eye on it because you don't want it to boil. Just kind of stir it around a little bit. Sure. Chance to get an even deal from the heat. Remember I did the plate and everything. It's all makes sense now. All right. After I've got the potatoes sweated, this is kind of what it looks like. Doesn't look that great. It's actually, you could drink it. I don't recommend it, but you can. It's a food product. Okay. Anyways, this is going to go inside the vat. Doing this part's not so bad. Like I said, you want to kind of set your stuff up ahead of time and make it so it's easier on yourself. It's just, I picked up that 6-gallon vat before when it was full, and I'm just going to tell you, it's heavy and you're risking breaking it and everything else. So just do it this way and it'll be much easier. Make sure the temperature is not scalding hot or anything like that. You want it to be around room temperature. We're going to be adding a simple syrup to it here in a minute. It's going to have 13 pounds of sugar in it. And then we're going to fill it the rest of the way up with water, stir it up real good. And add yeast to it. Okay. It's not a lot, but it makes a big difference in the flavor and the hardiness of the yeast, believe it or not. Okay. You can use different kinds of sugar. Never had any trouble with this before. It's cheaper. Add some water to it. All I'm trying to do is just render it down. I'm gonna just make a simple syrup out of it and pour it in the batch and wash. It's just for the yeast to eat, and once the yeast gets to eat, it's going to change it from sugar to starch, will change that all to alcohol. One more. Heat to it to get it to dissolve a little quicker. There we go. There we go. And one more thing to do. Add the last little bit of sugar. And don't make this mistake. Okay, well, the rest of it's just heated up so I can get it to dissolve. So we're getting there. You'll be able to see all the way through it just like it was water when it's done. In a second, I'll spin this around so you can see what it looks like. And when it gets done, it'll be clear all the way to the bottom. You'll be able to see it all the way through. Then you take and transfer it over to that 6-gallon vat, and you'll be set to put the yeast in, and we'll go from there. Okay, as you can see now, you can see all the way down through the bottom of it. So it's pretty clear. I can go ahead and put that in the vat. Okay, one more thing. I'm going to put a makeshift burper in here. It's going to go down to a pot of water just in case it foams up. It does. I used to set it in the sink and let it bubble over into the sink, but don't have that luxury here, so I've got to improvise and put a pot of water down here for it to bubble into that. And if it overdoes its deal, then it's no big deal. I can just dump the water out and wait for it to finish doing its foaming thing and put the other burper on. But anyways. That's the last of the simple syrup. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna add the yeast and put in the rest of the water. Fill it back up. I've got my pot in place and my hose is ready to go. So let's get this going. Pre-measured, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. And some more water in it. Put a little in here. Wash it on down. Water temperature is going to be about room temperature, like I was saying. Got a siphon I've already sterilized. So now I'm going to go ahead and agitate this a little bit. And from this out here in just a little bit. I'm going to do a test on it. Show you that in a second. Okay, like I said, I'm going to have to draw some of it out so I can test it. I'll show you that in a second, but it doesn't taste bad. It just tastes like sweet potatoes, maybe. It's already starting to do its thing. Back in a second. Like I said, just in case it decides to foam up, we're going to cap it and submerge this hose in this pot. And it should start bubbling here pretty quick. The carbon will build up in here and it'll force its way down through that hose and we'll see it bubble. And if it foams like I've had it do sometimes in the past, well, it'll go down that hose and into that pot. That one. So that's my setup. Goes up into there, and we'll see what happens. That's what the wash looks like. It'll be almost clear when it's done. Anyways, that's video number 2. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll add a little more to this one still yet before I'm quite done with it. I'll show you that test I pulled that out for. Back in a bit. In order to know how your wash is doing, you gotta have a baseline reading. And you take that baseline, you write it down in the back of a notepad or something like that so you know where it's at. And then you take a second reading later on when the wash looks like it's about done, and you'll know what your alcohol by volume is, so you know kind of what you're going to get out of your distillation. But anyways, that's done with a hydrometer. This one is specifically made for beer and wine. It won't do hard alcohol, so you can't tell your proofs with this. But if you're making wine and beer, you absolutely can tell. Sorry about the angle, but I wanted to make sure you could see what was going on. As you see, it's multicolored, but it's also got on there wine, table wine, tells you where you're at on it. And we should be up around the 0% or less. Drop it in, let it float. Take your reading. And we're, like I said, about 0. So at the bottom of that 30. Gotta keep track of kind of what the temperature is too in your house. Remember that. So we're at that bottom of that blue line, which is 30. We'll just keep it at that. There's no alcohol in it, so basically it's 30. Beginning wash. And I'll show you how that works. Whenever it gets done, we'll drop it down again and you'll see where it's going to sink. It'll sink down further. It'll give you, and then we take that away from that, and that gives you your alcohol by volume for this particular wash. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Okay, I'm going to show you something real quick. I've had this foamy before when I very first started brewing. I thought my batch was okay. It could be wine, it could be beer, it could be what we're doing here. But you'll think that it's like, oh, okay, it's just barely bubbling. It's no big deal. Nope, especially with this yeast. This turbo style yeast will start out slow, which I'm going to show you, but don't let it fool you. It will take off like a rocket. And before you know it, it'll be blowing air out that hose. And if the foams up on it. Like I'll show you here in a second. It's not too bad, but like again, don't let it fool you. Just keep an eye on it for the first 45 minutes to an hour and see what happens with it. But it is actually starting to do its thing. I'll turn it around now and show you. Okay, as you see, it's got a light layer of foam on it, which is not that big a deal. And it's just barely putting any air back down through that hose. But like I say, after a little bit with this particular yeast, it will literally be just blowing through there. It'll be crazy. Anyways, once I know it's not going to foam, I'm going to put a different burper on there. I'll show you all that, and that'll be the final setup for the wash until it gets done doing its fermentation process. And then we go into clarification and distillation, which is another 2 videos at least. Anyways, this is going to be the end of the second video. Thanks for joining me. I hope this helps some of you that are actually interested and may want to try it. All right, have a good day.